why do you care so much about the game? You don't just love football, you're just desperately in need of belonging. Think about it. Billions of people pause their lives, forget their problems, and glue their eyes to a screen to watch 22 men chasing after a ball. We scream, we cry, and we feel our anxiety spike over something that doesn't change anything in our reality. The problem isn't the sport itself. Football is one of the greatest forms of entertainment and passion that humanity has ever created. The big question is, why do we turn a 90-minute distraction into an anesthetic escape from our own lives? This collective trance happens because the modern market has learned to map our greatest psychological needs and use the game as the perfect vehicle to exploit them. The first need that this spectacle fulfills is isolation. Modern life is hyper-individualistic. We live under pressure to perform, isolated behind screens, and increasingly distant from a real sense of community. During the other 11 months of the year, our society lives deeply fractured. People are divided by ideologies, compete aggressively, and ignore each other on the streets. There is a silent chasm between you and the rest of the world. But when the tournament begins, it activates an ancient psychological mechanism, our primitive tribalism. Human beings evolved to need a tribe and a common rival in order to feel safe. The game functioned as a simulated war. Suddenly, an illusory truce is injected into society. The stranger you used to ignore on the street becomes your blood brother because of a goal. It's a quick, easy, and artificial union with an expiration date. We use sports to buy a sense of belonging that we don't have the courage to build in our daily lives. And this is where pure entertainment turns into a dangerous trap, driven by the biggest global phenomenon of our generation, sports betting apps. If before the risk was just wasting time, today the risk is losing your future. Large corporations took your genuine passion for the game and turned it into a billion-dollar dopamine harvesting business. Your brain is hacked by the mechanism of unpredictable rewards. When you put your money on a bet, the game stops being a distraction and becomes a chemical necessity. Psychology explains this through intermittent reinforcement. Your brain becomes addicted to the anticipation of an almost win. It's the same mechanism that makes someone spend hours pulling the lever on a slot machine. But the football market is even more insidious because it sells a dangerous lie, the illusion of control. You spend hours studying statistics, analyzing injury histories, past lineups, and game tactics. You fill your mind with useless data, genuinely believing that your intelligence can predict an outcome that is ultimately purely chaotic. A millimetric deflection of the ball, a referee's mistake, or a puddle of water on the field can completely ruin your guess. The truth is, you're not being analytical, you're being manipulated. Live betting, minute by minute, on corners, cards, or fouls keeps your nervous system in a constant state of alert. Your cortisol shoots to the top and your dopamine plummets. You spend money that should be invested in your business, your education, or your own development, betting on the efforts of other men. It's the perfect self-sabotage disguised as a hobby. While the owners of the platforms get richer, you fund their empire with your peace of mind and your paycheck. Why do we accept this deal so passively? The answer lies in the philosophical concept of living by proxy. Since modern life has failed to provide a clear purpose for the individual, we start borrowing the purpose of others. It's much easier to put on a team's jersey and adopt their success story than to bear the weight of building your own. When the national team wins, you feel proud of their victory. Without having made the sacrifice of training, you feel the glory without having shed the sweat. The philosopher Nietzsche spoke about the herd mentality, the human tendency to dilute one's own individuality in the group in order to feel safe. The herd gives you an anesthetic sense of power. In the crowd, you are no longer a young person frustrated with a mediocre job or a stagnant life. You are part of an unstoppable global force. But that power is an optical illusion. The market knows you are hungry for identity, so it sells you one. They sell you licensed products, flags, streaming subscriptions, and tickets. They turn your most primitive instinct to belong to a tribe into a capitalist assembly line. You are paying a high price to forget who you are. All the energy, focus, and obsession that you should be using to discover your own character, your body, and your mind are being channeled into watching a screen. You become a passive consumer of other people's greatness. But the real danger of this dynamic isn't what happens during the tournament, it's what happens when the spectacle is over. Psychology calls this post-event depression or a major dopamine crash. For 30 days, your brain was artificially fed with daily spikes of adrenaline, anticipation, and a sense of belonging. Your routine gained a focal point, but eventually the final whistle will blow, the stadium lights will go out, and then reality comes calling. The paint will fade from your face, the flags will be stored away at the back of drawers, and traffic will suddenly return to normal. Social isolation will return to exactly where it was before. The stranger who hugged you in the street, celebrating the goal, will go back to being the person who ignores you and pushes you on the subway on Monday morning. And you'll wake up realizing that your life is exactly where it was before. Your financial problems haven't disappeared, your physical health hasn't improved, and your business hasn't grown. The only difference is that you spent the whole month distracted, maybe with less money in your pocket because of betting. And with your own story completely stagnant. You spent 30 days of absolute focus caring for and rooting for the empire of billionaire men who don't even know you exist, while your own territory remained abandoned in ruins. There's no crime in cheering, having fun, and watching the show. Soccer is a magnificent sport, but you need to learn how to be in the audience without losing yourself in it. The tragic mistake is to confuse their triumph with your own. Use this spectacle not as an escape, but as a mirror of your own mind. Look at the screen and notice the strength and obsession, the level of discipline, the mental resilience, and the sacrifice that those elite athletes demonstrate under extreme pressure. That is human potential on display. The question I ask you is, why do you accept this greatness in others instead of demanding it from yourself? If you are perfectly capable of focusing curiously on game statistics, if you are able to shout and wake up early and give your vital energy for a result that doesn't change anything in your reality, you have the energy needed to change your life. The problem was never a lack of focus, but the target you're aiming it at. Stop outsourcing your victories. Stop funding someone else's empire with your scarcity. Don't let a 90-minute game be the only place on earth where you experience the feeling of winning. Take that same primal strength and focused aggression and direct it toward your goals, your body, your knowledge, and your future. And when the whole world is distracted, watching the ball, use the silence to build your own path. The stadium lights will go out, but your life goes on. Focus on your own battlefield.